Today is July 1st, 2023. The first day of 7 days retreat. Tathagata Meditation Center, San Jose. New yogis are those who are just now becoming familiar with meditation. Although they have listened to the basic meditation instructions, some can neither practice well nor speak well about their practice. Others can practice well but cannot describe experience. Others cannot practice well but cannot describe how they have practiced and what they have experienced. Having seen such difficulties occur from time to time, we want to share a few words of guidance. Words which pave the way for yogis to overcome these difficulties. That is a method for describing one's practice and experience to the teacher. The basic meditation instructions the yogis have heard are those given by the late, most venerable Sayadaw. Sayadaw concluded the instructions by summarizing how to note, beginning with the primary object. He explained that in terms of the Buddhist teaching, mental and physical phenomena are occurring all the time at the sixth sense doors. How they occur is that in the moment the eye sees something, the eye and the visible object are physical phenomena, while seeing and knowing are mental phenomena. Furthermore, in order to see the mental and physical phenomena arising at the moment as they really are, he gave the instruction to note seeing at the very moment seeing occurs. In just the same way, in the moment of hearing, the ear and sound are physical phenomena. While hearing and knowing are mental, he taught the yogis to note hearing at the very moment of hearing in order to know the mental and physical phenomena involved. Mahasi Sayadaw explained how to observe in the moment of smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, reflecting and planning, as well as bending, stretching, leaning, tilting one's head, lifting, moving and placing, even down to the smallest movement, even down to the smallest movement. He spoke in everyday language easily understood, even by those yogis with little theoretical knowledge of the practice. Even so, difficulties occurred when it came to putting the instructions into practice. Furthermore, as we mentioned earlier, some know how to meditate, but are not able to describe their experience. Some cannot speak easily because are in awe of their teacher or of their immediate surroundings. Their immediate surroundings. Those yogis who by nature don't speak much encounter even more difficulty. Thus, the teachers have to take the yogis by the hand, so to speak, and explain to them again and again in simply terms how to observe the main object, how to note it, and know it. Next, how to note other objects, such as thinking and planning, feelings and general objects, such as seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and so on. Each time they occur, for example, looking at something, tell me what it is. If you look, you will see. If you see, you will know. You will be able to say what it is you see. If one doesn't look, one won't see. If one doesn't see, one won't be able to say what it is. Looking doesn't just mean taking a quick glance or looking without paying attention. Only when one looks closely and carefully at something we want to see, only when one sees it, we won't be able to say what it is. Here, to observe the rising is to pay attention to it, applying sati mindfulness and wisdom panya in order to know the object. In everyday language, the yogi is being told to look. But this doesn't mean to look with one's eyes. It means simply to look with the mind. It means simply to look with the mind. Thus, to be able to say what something is, there are two parts involved. Looking and seeing. Only when these two are present, we won't be able to say it is this. To know the rising is to look at it. One is being told to look. Once you look, what do you see? What is the rising? One must describe it as one sees and knows it. Only when these two parts are present, we won't be able to say what it is. After noting the rising, if one doesn't describe it as one has see it, but instead goes off on a tangent, talking about this and that, that is not correct. That is not correct. It is important to be able to say how one observes the rising of the abdomen from the very start until the end. From the very start until the end. When the breath starts to enter the body, the abdomen expands or rises. It continues to rise as one breathes in. When the in-breath comes to an end, so does the rising. Therefore, it says in the text that when noting the rising, and Sabha Kaya Padisamvedi in Pali. One should experience the body as a whole. This doesn't mean to observe one's entire body. It means to experience from start to finish the whole series of physical phenomena such as stiffness, tension, and movement, which occur when the embrace causes the abdomen to expand. The abdomen to expand. That is what is meant by experience the body as a whole. Sabagaya means the whole group of physical phenomena. All the physical phenomena, the text explain Sabha as Adi Meja Priyosana in Pali. Adi Meja Priyosana. That means beginning, middle, and end. These three parts as a whole, the beginning, middle, and end, are what is meant by Sava or whole. If we divide the whole rising into parts, there is beginning, middle, and end. These three parts as a whole are what the Buddhas refer to when he said, Sabakaya Prisamvedi, one should make a practice of knowing the body as a whole, of understanding the body as a whole. Therefore, when noting rising, one must follow it with the mind from the very smallest beginning of the rising. The mind must get to the rising. As the abdomen rises, one has to focus one's mind on the rising movement. One's observation should stop at exactly the same moment as the rising stops. At the start of one's practice, the beginning, middle, and end of the rising are not yet obvious. Even so, the teacher tells the yogi to note with a special effort so that they become apparent. The question arises, why do the meditation teachers ask beginners to do what they cannot yet do? Is there some benefit to asking them to do the impossible? The teacher does that as an indirect way of getting the yogis to make the necessary effort. If the teacher were to ask for less, saying, just observe whatever you can, it is okay. The yogis would practice superficially. In the case, their meditation would end in the same way. Their meditation would be over simply because the number of days designated for the retreat was up. Their retreat will be finished, but that's all. Thus, with the aim, the yogis make careful concentrated effort. The teacher instructs the yogis to pay full attention. Only when the mind is steadfast, placed completely on the abdomen at the moment the rising occurs, where full concentration be gained. When one knows, one should have the attitude, I'm going to observe the whole rising from the very start to the very end. Later, one comes to be able to do this. In the interview, studying yogis must be able to describe how they observe the rising from the very start to the very end. Can you note it or not? Does the mind observe the object? Does the mind observe the object head on, directly or not? Can you note the entire process or not? One has to be able to express this in the interview. If one can note, what does one see? What does one find? Having focused on an object, one should not fantasize about other things. One should not fantasize about other things. It is not necessary to speak about other objects seen or found. What is important is to speak about the object which one has observed in a focused, concentrated way. One needs to be able to describe the rising. Walking with the main object, if one cannot even say what its form and position are, then our work of meditation becomes mindful, meaningfulness. Meditation becomes meaningless. Therefore, the teacher has to tell the yogis how to describe their meditation experience so that the practice will be accurate and meaningful. One must be able to answer the question, when noting rising, can you follow the rising closely from the beginning to the end? Or can you if you can follow it, then say you can. If you can, say you cannot. Of course, if you can follow it, what do you see? Do you see the abdomen? Do you see its position of rising? Or do you see stiffness, tension, movement? One should be able to report in this way. Experientially, there are three aspects to anything physical. These three are physical appearance or form, physical position, and essential physical quality of true nature. If we focus our mind on the abdomen in an ordinary way, the form of the abdomen is apparent. The shape or form of the abdomen is called its appearance. The whole body is a physical form. The abdomen, which is one of the body's parts, is also a physical form. This is also called appearance. Position refers to the position of the abdomen. How is it situated? Is it deflated or is it expanded? Is it collapsed? The abdomen is in some kinds of position or other. When one breathes in, the abdomen rises or expands. It is in an expanded position. When the breath goes out, the abdomen falls, collapses, or becomes deflated. It is in a collapsed position. In Pali, this is called akara. Akara means three meanings: situation, position, or manner. This is akara. For example, what is the position of the hand? How is it placed? Is it closed into a fist? Is it stretched open? As for the position of the body, is it sitting, standing, walking, lying on a bed, or what? These are all positions. Now is the abdomen in an expanded position, a collapsed position. If one looks carefully and intently, before one is able to see the true nature of physical phenomena, one can see their form or shape. One comes to be able to see this. One can also see their positions, such as that of the abdomen being expanded. Seeing shape and position are not wisdom. Seeing shape and position are not wisdom. One has to penetrate form and position, going beyond those to reach the stiffness, tension, vibration, and movement that are really exist in the moment of rising. These are called essential physical qualities or true nature. That is importance. These are called essential physical qualities or true nature. Telling the yogis to observe the rising as it occurs is asking that they look to see what it is. Is it just the abdomen, or is it just the rising position? What quality is there among the qualities mentioned above? Is there stiffness, tension, vibration, movement? One must be able to say, if one observes carefully, one will be able to see the true nature. One will be able to see the true nature. But when reporting, one shouldn't say what one imagines. One should say what one has seen. What one says based on imagination is not one's own knowledge. One's own knowledge is what one knows. having looked and seen for oneself. Therefore, in order to know how to look and how to describe what you see, we have provided a few principles to pave the way. In the moment of arising, can you observe the main object closely or not? If you can, what do you know? Just as one must say what one knows about the rising, so too one must be able to describe the falling. In the moment of falling, from the very start of the falling until its end, in the moment of falling, from the very start of the falling until its end, one must be able to observe how the abdomen starts to collapse with the smaller beginning of the out-breath. As one continues to exhale, the abdomen slowly continues to deflate. When the exhalation stops, the collapsing of the abdomen also comes to an end. The falling of the abdomen is connected with the out-breath. As soon as one starts to exhale, the abdomen starts to deflate. When the exhalation stops, the falling movement also also comes to an end. When one knows the falling, can one observe it, following it carefully from the very start until the end or not? One must be able to answer this question: what quality, what form do you come to know? Do you just know the shape of the abdomen? Or do you know the abdomen's position of being collapsed and deflated? What quality do you observe? Relaxation, stillness, movement, stiffness, tightness, vibrations. It is very important to be able to answer. It is very important to be able to answer. The mind is not something that stays where one puts it. Therefore, when one sits and observes the main objects of arising and falling, various types of thinking and planning arise. the mind leaves the object or the observation and moves about. It does what it wants. Various thoughts occur, both good and bad, both clean and dirty. Various thoughts arise. Various thoughts arise. If that happens, what should one do? Know them right away, of course. Various fantasy can arise. If they arise, can you know them or cannot you? One must be able to know them. When you note fantasy, does the mind continue to fantasize? Does it come to a stop? Does it disappear? Does the mind go back to the original object one was observing? One must be able to say, when at a retreat like this, yogi should keep mindfulness with you always. Whatever you do should be done with mindfulness. But you cannot sit for the whole day because your body needs some kinds of movement. This problem is a result by the practice of walking meditation. In order to practice walking meditation, you must change from the sitting posture to the standing posture before getting up from the seat. Be mindful of the intention to get up, or note intention, intention, intention. Then get up slowly, keeping your mind on the whole of your body and concentrating on its upward movement. When you have stood up, be mindful of standing and then practice walking meditation. To practice walking meditation, choose a way and walk back and forth on it. When walking, you make steps. When making a step, you first lift your foot and then move it forward. Move it forward and put it down. Then sway your body a little to shape the weight. While practicing walking meditation, try to be mindful of these movements. Your mind should be kept on movement of the foot, the movements of the abdomen when you are practicing walking meditation. So keep your mind on the foot. When you lift the foot, be mindful of lifting. When you move it forward, be mindful of moving. And when you place it down, be mindful of placing. Pay close attention so that you are fully aware of these movements. After putting one foot down, sway your body slightly as you are shift your weight. And when you shift weight, be mindful of shifting, keeping your mind on the whole of your body. Then make the next step. Be mindful of lifting, moving, placing, and shifting. Walk until you reach the end of the walking path, walking way. Stopping there, be mindful of stopping. And when you have the intention to turn, be mindful of that intention or make the mental note. Intention, intention, intention. Then make the turn slowly with mindfulness or with the mental notes. Turning, 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 turning. While walking, keep your eyes slightly open and fixed on the way 3 or 4 feet ahead of you. 3 or 4 feet ahead of you. Do not look up or gazing around here and there. But if you do happen to look up, you must be mindful of that looking or seeing. Do not keep your eyes closed, or you may fall. Keeping them open a little and looking downward. Pay close attention to the movements when you make the steps. If you are complete beginner and have no experience in walking this way, you may begin with the mindfulness of just stepping. In this case, you can walk a little faster and make the mental notes. Stepping, stepping, stepping. When you have become comfortable with noting the stepping, you will have seen that a step is a compound of smaller movements, one of which is lifting the foot. Lifting the foot. Every time the foot is lifted, be mindful of the lifting or make note as lifting, lifting, lifting. When that feels comfortable, you may note another movement, such as moving the foot forward, lifting, moving forward, lifting, moving forward, and so on. And when you are comfortable with noting those 2 stages, then add one more, placing down the foot down, placing the foot down, lifting, moving forward, placing down, lifting, moving forward, placing down, and so on. Pay close attention to these movements. In this way, you can adapt to the practice little by little. If you really pay close attention to these movements, you will find yourself slowing down automatically, but do not force yourself to slow down. Just pay close attention to the movements, and the slowing down will happen automatically. Then, if you pay close attention, you will notice many more things than I can include in these instructions. Whether you are practicing sitting meditation or walking meditation, you are just watching, you are not making anything up. If you are mindful only of the object of the present moment, you are not imagining, do not look for objects and do not imagine them. Watch or be mindful of the object at the present moment. Pay attention just to what is there. Walking meditation should be practiced when you are entering the meditation hall, and when leaving the hall, you also have to pay attention to the related activities, such as opening the door, closing the door, or taking off shoes and putting them back on. These activities must be done with mindfulness. These activities must be done with mindfulness. Okay, that's all for today. We will continue tomorrow. May you gain the full benefit of a human life, which is know how to get, and of meeting the Buddha's teaching. Meeting the Buddha teaching, which is so rare to find. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.